Hello and welcome to this CHeKT Insight video. Today we're going to talk about how to access the subnet of cameras that are on an NVR. This is specific to network cameras, IP cameras, and we would need this if we want to use analytics to trigger the alarm. If we're going to use another type of trigger like a motion detector, beam, or third-party analytics system, we don't need to do this. We could simply use the NVR's on-VIF protocol or an RTSP stream to get video into the bridge. But if I want to use analytics on the cameras themselves and that NVR does not support on-VIF event messages, which many do not, then I would need to do this. So what we're doing here is I'm simply taking this NVR. If we just ignore all of this right now and just look at the NVR and the cameras, I've plugged in all three cameras onto this NVR, into the back of the NVR, and then I've plugged the NVR into the switch or the LAN that will reach the internet. So these cameras are on their own little network behind the NVR. Their subnet is 154.x, so that's their subnet. They've created their own little network, and the LAN subnet is .1.x. You see that? So we got 192.168.1.x. That's my network. So I've done that, and we've created that. So we've got this subnet. We've got this subnet that all of our devices on the LAN are on. Well, my bridge, now I plug my bridge into the switch. This is the LAN, and my bridge is going to be on the .1 subnet. So the main subnet my bridge will be on. The bridge can reach the NVR because you see we've got these two pathways. This is going here, that's going there. So I can reach there through OnVIF, but if I want to bring in the analytics, since if this NVR doesn't support that, then I would have to find a way to bypass the NVR subnet or bypass this and go directly to the cameras. I could do this in a couple of ways. I could simply take a switch, put these cameras on a PoE switch and run them into the net, and then the NVR would network it that way, and the switch or the bridge would network it that way. But this is a little hack to avoid that, and this may not be for you, but it's just something that you could do. It's an option without an additional piece of hardware. What I would do is I would take a third wire run or a second wire run through the NVR, but instead of putting it in the NIC port or a second NIC port, I would take it and put it in one of the empty PoE ports on the back of the NVR. What I generally say as a rule of practice is do the last one. If you're going to do this over and over again, helps to just have it on the last port. So I'd run that wire to the last port. On the NVR settings, I would turn off the automatic, I would turn it to manual and assign it a manual IP. That way the NVR is not trying to hand out an IP address to your network. You don't want that. That can be very bad. You'll have stuff go offline. So make sure that's set to manual and not automatic setting an IP address. Some of the NVRs will do that. So now I've ran that wire, you may do a network discovery scan on the bridge, and you'll notice I'm not seeing any cameras. I can only see the NVR. Well, what you'll have to do is there's a step, and there's a video on this, or there is a guide on this. You'll need to set the sub IP address on the bridge to the same IP address range of this subnet of these cameras. So you can see it's .154. So I would change my sub IP address to be .154. I'd do .154.200 here. Boom. Now when I do my scan, the bridge will start to see these cameras, and I can learn each camera individually. And I've just bypassed the NVR. NVR is still working the same way it would. The customer can use their VMS or their app like normal, but the bridge is able to communicate directly with these cameras. Now we're able to read the analytics, and the analytics are triggering the alarm. Great. You may ask, what models of NVRs do I need to do this with? My advice would be to test. Many NVRs don't trigger on-VIF event signals. An example, Hikvision, they don't trigger. In most cases, they will not trigger an on-VIF signal through the NVR, but the cameras will work very well. Dawa, on the other hand, being very similar type camera types, Dawa usually will work. So usually you don't have to do this with Dawa. But I say usually because sometimes you do. Sometimes they won't trigger on the signals. And I'd say it, and also just in case the NVR goes offline, just, you still have the camera feed. So this would be my preferred method, is to try to go directly to the cameras as much as possible. But test your equipment, see what works best for you. But this is a way that you can do it without adding another switch. Thanks for watching. This has been a CheKT Insight video. Have a good day.